I have no idea what this is called.
Nito,
I mean, it's a linear piston air pump.
and it's Nito.
Yeah, it's just
It's neat.
Nito, you're reading the box.
It's Nito.
Stupid.
That's making it in for sure.
All right,
Okay, I'm ready.
we're back with Dean,
Yes.
talking about products that he likes, wants, uses, needs.
Or all of those things.
Yep.
Some of them. So,
And why they're awesome.
one product that I've really come to like is the Extreme Krill Flakes. These were originally formulated for saltwater, and they were marketed for saltwater. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Aquarium Co-op went down to Florida maybe a couple times to talk to Extreme about this and get them to relabel this, remarket it for freshwater. It's fantastic freshwater flake food.
So I'll be honest, I just got my first Extreme
Yeah?
like a week ago. So far, so good, but it seems to be like everyone's favorite food right now.
Yep.
Would you say it's up there? Or does it get the Dean approval?
I think it's up near the top. You know, I fed it from everything from wild discus to crumbled up for 3-day-old angelfish, and everything eats it. Plecos eat it, catfish eat it, everything eats it. I don't think we can open this officially. Oh, you're gonna take this one home, right?
Sure.
Smells really good.
It does smell good.
Now, I used to feed other brands of flake food, and I don't feed any other brands of flake food now
Because of the krill.
because of
Extreme or krill?
Extreme flakes. There is another Extreme flake that I use, the spirulina flake, and this works really good for all of those bottom feeding fish. I don't have any rainbows in the fish room right now, but they would go for this. I've seen them in other guys' tanks. They just scarf it up.
So one of the reasons I haven't jumped on board the Extreme train yet is because it seems like there is this period where every 6 months there's a new food. Like, this is the flavor of the month this time. This has been around for quite a while now, so
Yeah.
I just decided to finally try it out. And then
Well-
it gets the Dean stamp of approval. It makes me happy.
Yeah, and let's just say one thing is sometimes companies need to be guided by consumers that are actually using their product and finding out what they're using it for.
Yep.
And I think at first, you know, Extreme came out of, I believe, a fish farm where they were making their own food and using it in their own farms. So they were listening only to themselves, not to all the consumers.
I remember that video.
Yeah, and I think now that they're finally listening to consumers, things aren't changing. There's another brand of food, not to be mentioned, Sarah, but they've just reformulated all their food, and a lot of it isn't as good.
I've noticed.
Yeah, especially those things you stick on the side, the tabs. They don't stay stuck and they dissolve like that.
Really.
Yeah,
Well, luckily I still have the old ones, but
I do
so-
too. Till I'm out.
Yep.
So let's talk about one more Extreme food. And if you haven't used this one,
Which I haven't.
you have to get this one, and that's the nano pellets.
I do need pellets.
Yeah. Now, I happen to take this and do the Cory thing, and I dump the whole thing into a shaker bottle
Okay.
because it's faster, it's easier, don't have to use my spoon. And if you're really smart, like I am, you can actually peel the label off slowly, and it'll stick right to the shaker bottle. I'm weird that way, you know. So,
Well, that you can see what you're feeding.
But these, anything from, I would say, any 2-week-old fry up to like a full-size grown ram, a pistogramma, rainbow, it kind of floats and slow sinks. Works really good. It's one of my favorite ever foods,
Wow.
ever, for any fish.
I've been looking for a nice small pellet food too.
Yeah, and this is a micro pellet, so
Like
you know,
0.5 millimeter?
0.5 millimeter and smaller.
Nice.
Traditionally, you're going to find 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter
Yeah.
flake or pellets. And this one is really small, doesn't cloud the water, fish eat it up. And I think of any fish food that I'm currently using, this is probably my most favorite.
The reason, see, I have a lot of rainbow fish, so I need the 0.5 or smaller.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, I feed this to 2-inch discus too. That's a pretty good sized fish, 2-inch discus. I tend to think, a lot of our foods we get are, it's a big cichlid pellet for a big cichlid, but then that big cichlid can't get that in its mouth and chew it up, so it's got to wait for it to dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
Where you feed this to a big cichlid, it could go and get 10 or 15 pellets at a time, and they go down. They don't
Makes sense.
get chewed up. So
Doesn't cloud the water either.
doesn't cloud the water, right? Yeah, this one, you'd be happy with this one.
Yeah, I'm taking that one home for sure.
Even your things like neon tetras and stuff will take that. Let's talk about this product. So,
Because I didn't know this existed.
and what were we talking about? I have, had, or need,
Once.
or want. Yeah. So this is the same as the regular ICX, which a lot of us have used that. It's in the Meds Trio. Meds Trio video is linked right here somewhere. But this is a pond strength, so it's double the strength. We were talking a little bit earlier about smaller container, double the amount.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right?
Yep.
I would be excited to try this because it's double the strength. A lot of times, might be doubling the strength anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I when I saw this one out there, I thought we got to talk about this because it's a pond strength ICX.
And I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know it was here. And second of all, I had no idea that it was double.
I didn't either,
Strength.
but that's what we found out. Need, want, I'm going on vacation. And I saw these out there in the warehouse, and I thought, you know what, for my pleco tanks, why don't I just drop a couple of these in? The calcium in there is super good for like snails
That's what I use them for.
or shrimp.
Yep.
Now, you know that I don't keep any snails, right? There are snails in my outside pond, which I pluck out and feed to the puffers. Years ago, it was a big thing to put in vacation feeders if you're even gone for the weekend. I mean, that was a thing. You go to the store, Mom, I need to go to the pet store because we're going to get vacation feeders, and so I'm going to give these things a try while I'm gone next week.
All right, and then we'll get the follow-up.
Yeah. And then we've got one other thing, and
And this is what I'm excited about.
we're going to do an unboxing here, actually.
Because it's neato.
We got permission to do that. So let's move these over here. Some of you guys might have heard this, might not have heard this, but Aquarium Co-op is now carrying Neato, as you said, air pump. And this is actually a linear piston pump. So a lot of you guys will go out and buy one air pump, and then you're going to go to 3 tanks, and you go to another air pump, you go to 5 tanks, you go to another air pump. Pretty soon you might have 10 air pumps around the house, right? This one will replace all of those. And we do talk, and I'm going to talk
And quieter.
about... Huh?
And it'll be quieter.
And it's quieter, it's more efficient, and it's more air. Oh, they're going to
I
kill
want
me.
to say 50 watts of power-ish.
I think less than 50 watts.
They call it 45 to
45
Yeah.
watts. Okay.
Yeah. 45 liters of air. Something like that.
But when you start talking about 10 air pumps at 9 watts each,
10 plugs that you're taking,
yep.
right? This is one plug, and I'm going to give you a couple hints on this because I personally use this pump. I actually have 2 of them, and you can. Mine are in separate places. Let's get this turned around right. Oh man, I wish we could plug this. Let's try this. So it's going to sound about like that. Super quiet.
Quieter. We're hearing the air blow off.
Yeah, you're hearing the air, but it'll be more like that.
Yep, there it is.
And it's what, maybe the size of 2 of your little air pumps if they're stacked. Has a filter under here, which we were talking earlier tonight. I've never changed mine. It's been running for 8 years plus. I've never even looked at it. You've never changed yours in the ones that you've had?
So I've had one running probably 6-7 years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it, just because I have huskies or used to.
Right.
There
Hair.
might be some hair in there,
Could be, but it's still running.
but it still runs. I mean, it gets really hot, so that's why I think there might be some.
But these can run hot. They're not going to run hot where they're going to burn you or anything.
No,
but,
not at all.
But the nature of the pump is it's hot.
So, because I have 2 of them, and the newer one does not run hot, and
Right.
the older one does. That's why I
Okay,
think
so
there might be some buildup.
It might
but
be, yeah.
the fact that it can go that long with huskies in the house.
I don't know if you saw the video where mine is actually behind the rack of tanks, behind a wall, and to get to that wall, I have to move the whole rack of tanks out. So
So you're banking on the reliability.
I haven't looked at it for years, you know. Yeah, so I never had a problem with it. But one of the hints I will tell people, and I kind of discovered this in working in Corey's fish room, when we were adding air to the tubs, most of the time we recommend running the air in a loop, right?
Yep.
And when we went into the tubs, we had to run it where it dead ended. There was no way of making a loop. So we came off of his main air system, a single tube of airline, and we just built our valves in line, and there was plenty of air all the way along, even using just small airline. So let's just say you have, you know, maybe you have a wall that you have your tanks on, and there may be 1 or 2 tanks a few feet away. You don't need to build it out of PVC.
Nope.
You could just run it out of a manifold and then run airline over there, and it'll work just fine.
Yep. So both of my fish rooms, none of them are a loop system.
None of them.
The one is just basically a PVC manifold,
Okay.
and that's it.
Yep. And it
You,
works
you
fine.
gotta do bleed off that way, but
Yep.
that's the only downfall.
But there's no problem with doing bleed off. Bleed off always allows you to add an extra tank later.
Yep. Oh, there's like 20 extra
Right.
valves on it.
Right. Right. I typically don't like to hear the bleed off, so I'll run an airline tube and stick it behind a tank or a curtain or something.
Yeah. So I took the bleed off and I put filter batting around it in a rubber
Yep.
band.
Yep, works
Can't
fine.
hear it at all.
Can't hear it at all. So this product, really cool. Aquarium Co-op is only carrying the one size. This is going to be the size that almost everybody will want.
Yep. Unless you're getting up to like, I mean, I don't even know how many outlets. 45
Yeah,
tanks.
yeah. I personally have run over 40 tanks with one of these. And that's the other good point is,
And that's not necessarily tanks. That's just filters.
or air outlets. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So if you do get more, you can just add a second one in, and you don't have to worry about will the pumps out compete? They don't. They complement.
Yep.
So and that can be added anywhere in your system. I mean, the hookup is relatively easy. It's just a hard piece of rubber that goes on here, goes to your PVC pipe, or however else you want to do it.
Yep. Super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Super
would say
reliable.
like, you got 10 tanks. I mean, if you got 2 sponge filters in each one, that's 20.
That's 20 right there. Exactly.
Good for all racks.
Yep. Cool.
Is that it? We got anything else hiding over there?
No, I don't. That's it. That's all I have hiding.
All right.
So
Well, thanks for showing me your needs, wants, and
desires. And, well,
Desires.
this was actually Bob's desire.
yeah, that was mine. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's cool. It's cool. And, you know, typically in the past, most of us have had to order these for, you know, probably more money and harder to find.
Yep.
So
And also good for ponds.
great for ponds.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
You bet.